Hi everyone, Sylvia here. I made some sauerkraut the other day and I thought I'd share the recipe with you because it was so quick and easy. I got the recipe from Sally Fallon's book Nourishing Traditions, and it takes a few steps out and it's just so quick and easy. Anybody can do this. So I didn't have a videographer that day, so I took pictures while I was making the sauerkraut, and I'm adding the audio now so that I can explain to you what I did step by step, and you can make some too. So the first picture here is just of a fresh cabbage that I had picked from my garden that day, and it's been really hot here, so the cabbage is a bit loose. It's got some air pockets in it, but that's okay. The recipe calls for 2 medium cabbage. Mine, because of the air spaces and their size, they weren't that great. I end up using a little less salt because they were a bit smaller. But so here's the first picture of the cabbage that I just sliced in half, fresh from the garden. And then I cut it into wedges and fed the cabbage wedges through the top hole of my food processor, and I used a grating blade, which I'll show you here in a minute. And I just grated up the cabbage. There's the full container. And here's the picture of the blade that I used, and that's the large grating blade. And this picture, once I got the both cabbages grated up completely, I poured them into a plastic bucket, and here I'm just adding sea salt. And I'll put the exact recipe down below the video for you. So then once it's in the bucket, you just grate it, mash it, pound it, mix that sea salt into it so it starts to bring the juices out of the cabbage and makes a nice brine. There's another picture of me pressing down onto the cabbage. And you can just start to see the juices coming out. And there I tilted the bucket to show you the juice that's coming out of the cabbage there at the bottom. And you mash it, pound it, push down on it, mix it up for about 10 minutes. And here's a picture of me ladling the spooning the cabbage into the mason jar. And there's the jar full of fresh grated cabbage. And all you have to make sure is that you don't go any further than 1 inch from the top, and you have to make sure that your cabbage is covered with the brine. And I think I have a picture here for you of the liquid. There it is. Just so you can see that the cabbage is underneath of the brine and covered in liquid. You don't want any cabbage sticking out the top. And this picture here, you think the jar is full, but take something, and I use the wooden handle of my whisk and just press the cabbage down to make sure it was covered in brine, and you'll see here in the next picture that it actually brought the level down quite a bit, so I was able to add more cabbage to the jar. And then once the jar is full, then I take off my funnel and take a little rubber spatula and scrape down the sides of the jar so there's no cabbage pieces stuck to the side, and then push it down a little bit and make sure it's covered with the brine. And there's my 3 jars of sauerkraut. And that was the 3 jars were made from 2 medium to small heads of cabbage. And now they're going to just sit with the lids and rings on my kitchen counter for 3 days. And then after 3 days, they go in the refrigerator, and they are good for an indefinite period of time. And you can see it doesn't typically look like sauerkraut here because it's such bright green. But the longer it sits, the more the green fades, and it'll start to look like real sauerkraut. So I hope you enjoy this little video, and I hope you can make some sauerkraut this summer. It's cheap, it's easy, even if you don't grow the cabbage. Cabbages are so cheap to buy in the store now. You just grate them up, mix in the salt, and there you go. You've got sauerkraut that lasts practically forever. So I'll post the recipe down below, and I hope you have a great day.